This
So,
conference will now be recorded.
calling the work session to order at 6:08 p.m. So moved. All in favor? Okay. Don't know if I'm supposed to vote on that or not, but every month is a different month. All right. So let's get going. Traffic control. I sent you guys these locations. I'd like to share with Joe as well. These are the locations where I met with Nelson and Pope. These are the locations where the speed humps are going to be placed. And he suggested 3 in those locations. And we have an engineer's plan. We're going to have to order signage. Jeremy, I'm going to put you on the signage that we have to order for it. And I would like to, so I did not get, I asked for a final estimate on the actual humps. Instead of, she had given me a quote for the cushions. The prices are close. I have a feeling that roughly with the material and then the devices to have it installed, which we can have Dave install them.
Okay.
The engineer said it's pretty cut and dry, and he's worked with Traffic Logics before.
Okay.
So it's looking like it's going to be less, I think, less than $3,000 per hump.
Install?
No. For the material. So we
Okay.
have the engineered plan.
Yep.
And I think the material is going to be about, I don't have an exact number because the cushions were a little bit less and they were in the 28 something range, but that was also a quote that they did months ago. So I don't know if they have to, I'm assuming it's going to be around 3.
Okay.
So,
all in, probably
I think,
under 15.
Oh, yeah.
15 is a cap, is like a max.
well, I'm going to say let's do not to exceed 9,500 for the actual material.
Okay.
Just so we can get it approved and we can order it this month.
Okay.
And then, we'll see how it takes. We'll have Dave look at it, see if Dave thinks that it's something he can install them. And if he can't, then we'll find an installer. I already have a couple of like road people who also do installations that we can get quotes from.
Mhm.
But, if the numbers are higher than that, we'll circle back.
Okay.
But the Traffic Logics did Fort Jefferson, and they also came recommended by Nelson and Pope. They've used them on other villages. So do I have to go out for, if it's under 10,000 for the road? Do I have to go out to bid?
What is the total amount for all 3?
I think it's going to be 9,500 or less.
So
In that
in
neighborhood.
total. So then it's just under our procurement policy. So whatever, I think it's 3. It's either 2 bids or 3, 2 or 3 estimates.
So I need to get more estimates.
Yeah, but it's you don't for competitive bidding it would be published competitive bidding would be 35,000.
Okay, so, but I'm just saying, if I call around and get estimates from the other people, well, then, and what does the fact that the engineers referred us to this company, as did another municipality, can that impact our decision if the numbers are close?
That can only impact your decision after you get the other quotes.
Okay, so,
And the thing is, if you're gonna, you should ask each of them for a written quote, even if it's just an email.
mhm.
But if you can't get a written quote from one of them, then you need to make a memo or a phone call.
Okay, so you know what, we'll vote on, we'll get it next month because I need to do some more bidding, but we know what the numbers are. If we're all, we can, if you guys feel comfortable with accepting the positions, we at least got that done now.
Yeah, just got one quick question, maybe Joe. So for the one that's up past the triangle, the Shore Road,
Mhm.
triangle,
There's 2.
I'm sorry, yeah, the 2. Are, because we share that road, do we have to notify the adjacent village? And we're gonna place a sign on
We
that
don't
property,
share
right?
that road.
But we're gonna have to put a sign on that side of the road in the ground there.
I mean, I can contact the councilman, but we don't share that road at
No.
all.
But I don't know, do we share like the offset of the road? I'm just saying, because
No,
if we don't
we
share
don't.
the road, that's fine, but
No,
I don't know
we
how
don't,
far off the
because-
sign's gonna have to be off the road, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but when we did the, I don't think so, because when we had that issue with the
tree
trees,
trimming,
he told me that we had an easement all the way up, because that was when I wanted I wanted the people who lived on Wells to take some accountability because the trees were coming off of their property. And he said, no, because those trees are actually your trees. Hopewat has like an easement or owns the land running down. So he was like, they're actually your trees. So I didn't have to notify them when I cut the trees down because they were actually on property that belongs to us, all of it, until you get to Wells Lane. It's all Hopewat Road.
Yeah.
And we're not doing it on the Shore Road side, so I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah,
So,
it's not- go
sorry, the 3 speed bumps that we have here, is that to see if the issue with the intersection of Shore and Van Brunt is resolved?
One's okay, so when you're coming down, one's before the intersection. They have to be spaced a certain distance from the stop signs of the intersections, right? So one's before, if you're going into Hopewat from 25A, one's before, and then there's 2 afterwards. There's one right afterwards. You can't do it right at the intersection.
Right. I guess I was under the impression we were doing Van Brunt, we were doing like a wider stretch. I didn't realize it was just this constricted area. So
Well-
like, what is it going to be like? Go over a speed bump, and then the next house over is another speed bump.
It's a little bit more than the next house over. Let me see yours, Jeremy, because I gave mine away.
I think
I don't know if they just look closer in
Yeah,
this
I think
picture
I think
than.
the 2 here, I mean, these 2 here definitely, I think, help both slow down and
Right.
alleviate the stop
Well,
sign
the other-
issue
The other
in both
thing,
directions, and then this prevents from kind of like gaining speed up through there.
yeah,
Okay.
because then you're coming up.
I see what you're saying about the 2.
You're coming up to White Pine, but you also have to consider that there's other driveways. So I think where he put it, because
Oh, is this is White Pine here?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, this looks. Oh, I thought that this was like this was the house up on the hill after.
that might not. I mean, that might be
I
windswept.
thought this was windswept. Yeah.
Might be windswept.
Oh, with that.
So this is a speed bump in front of his house, and then the next house over is another speed bump. So it, like if we're trying to control the speed on Van
but the
Brunt,
speed bumps themselves, if you're going to put them, so then that, if to answer your question from what the engineer said, we would need a 4th bump because you
Okay, we
can't
space this
you
one out
can't
more?
space them out like so random.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? They have to have like a logic to the spacing.
got it. Okay.
I actually think this is fine.
Okay.
Because it's going to slow down the traffic. Because you got to remember, the bigger concern is that people are blowing through that stop sign and
that
continuing,
was my
right?
question. If we're trying to fix that intersection issue, or if we're trying to control the speed on Van Brunt.
Well,
Both.
I mean, we're trying to do both. My feeling is we should start with these 3.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, we have some residents on Van Brunt who are all in favor, but we don't know that every resident on Van Brunt. So I think let's actually put them in, see how that does, and then if we feel if the response comes back, well, great, you kind of help the stop sign in the triangle, but the people are picking up speed after the second one. We'll put in, I mean, and then the other thing you got to remember is the idea is that the residents who are speeding probably won't like speed bumps, and maybe they will think that they should stop speeding because more might come.
Right.
Like I think if we start with 3, this is like a pilot, and then we can see what we need. We can always buy another one and engineer another one going up closer to White Pine if we need to. But I think, I mean, the feedback might be get these things out of the road.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
rather than waste the money on it now, I think let's go with this plan see how it goes, and then if we feel like we need to put another one a little bit further down,
Address it when the time comes.
yeah.
Or even space, I don't know how it goes. So I think one of the other big complaints from the intersection we had was the amount of people, residents, pedestrian traffic that's on there. The amount of speeding vehicles that come through there, all the pedestrian traffic, so I think it's
And
a combination of two.
yeah, and there was a resident who brought up some good valid points about pedestrians, bicyclists, how it's going to affect. So I think let's see how it goes. I think I think let's just, this is what they suggested.
Yeah.
They're the professionals. Let's try it, see how it goes, and then if it turns out, that they say the beauty of this is that they're not, they can be moved, so we can always move them. But I think let's start with the 3.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Sounds good.
Now I lost everything. Me. Hold on. Here. Okay. Next. Radar speed signs. Right? Got anything?
Yes, so looking at all of the options that we've kind of explored recently, I printed out the one from Atlantic City. This was a quote that was originally quoted for 2 units, but we revised that quote for 1. This is some information on here. It's solar, bidirectional. There's software for data, gathering. It's a 2-year warranty. Delivery charges are on here. They said they estimated between 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. And even though it's a little more than some of the other options, I think with everything that's given with this specific brand, I think this is the best option for us to look into further and possibly purchase to get Washington.
Okay.
This one,
What were the other ones?
This one also has data collection options while it's off, right?
This one actually, I don't think the other one I looked into from forgot one from last meeting. That one had options when it's turned off. But that one wasn't a solar powered.
Oh, then it's not an option.
Yeah.
We have to have the solar version.
If this is the one that they used out in, was it like East Hampton?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Brookhaven as well.
I can send you the guy's number, the supervisor of highways out there. I'm fairly certain he said that has that capability too. I don't know if it's just not listed here, but that it will operate in the off position as well. But I can forward his number, double check.
Okay.
Tomorrow or if you just so we have that data.
I know the last time you had the other quotes. Do you still have the other ones?
I don't have the one that I printed out last time, but I have the one from Radar Sign, which was a little bit smaller with 11-inch sign. This one was, you had to pay additional for the software. And that one I believe was like 3,100, 3,200. And then the other one from Solar Traffic Systems, that one was solar powered as well. The first year of subscription included, and that was 3,100.
And this one doesn't have a subscription?
This one has the software included within that price for the unit.
Permanent.
Yeah.
So,
and it comes with the backup battery as well in case.
now, did they tell you anything, just out of curiosity, what do we do? Pull the USB card out and download it? Or does it, because if it's...
This one specifically, I can comment on because I spoke to the guy. This one's Bluetooth. So you just take your smartphone up to it, and the Bluetooth app that it comes paired with will just connect right to it and download the data to your phone.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, so The other ones we were looking at, the radar sign was actually 3,500. Didn't come solar option, only battery and AC. The solar traffic system, the solar one was like 3,100, but you had to include the subscription in it. Or no, the subscription was included in the first year. But it didn't have all of the added options that this one has.
Okay.
So
All right. I mean, I'm fine with this.
yeah, I think this one offers the most. It still can be transferred from location to location because it's just a mounting bracket.
Did they tell you how we're going to mount it on a pole, on a sign? Did they give you any insight?
They didn't, but in the email he offered like additional mounting capabilities that they use through Amazon. I have to look back at what that was, but
I'm sure that's not that crazy.
You have like a wider diameter post or something to
yeah, it's like a stainless steel like band clamp that basically you could use to wrap around the pole.
All right. So I think the next steps that we're going to have to do with this is we're going to have to pick a location. I mean, I'm okay with this number. I think we should approve it for now. I think we have to pick a location where we're going to put it. We agreed on Washington, but we need to determine what position. My feeling is coming right down when you get out. My thoughts are right when you make that turn and you start go right by Kim's house.
Yes.
As you're going. That's where everybody drives really
between
fast.
Sydneywood and 25.
Before the turn.
But between
Yeah, like
Harrison and 25A, which
Yeah,
one comes
Singing.
first? Harrison, right?
Yeah.
Harrison
but
and
before you
25A.
turn to get to Harrison.
Yeah.
Because people will slow down.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
really,
Right there where there's that little straightaway.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think
where.
there's like a children playing sign there.
But we can move
like
that,
right
but
in that area.
yeah, so we have to find out if we can put it on a sign. Frank had mentioned that we're gonna wanna put it on a pole so that it's higher.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, we're gonna have to identify a pole and contact the utility to ask their permission to mount it. So I'm gonna leave that on your plate if that's okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's approve this. Let's find out, I mean, we can approve it now, but let's get all that information before we pull the trigger.
Okay.
Okay? So,
I'll tomorrow I'll send you the contact information for the guy from Sampton.
Okay.
Sampton.
I've been in contact with what's his name from the email that you forwarded.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. For the Department of Highways, the
Yeah.
Superintendent for Highways. For
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. He sent me a bunch
Okay.
of
Oh,
information,
perfect.
so-
Yeah, he's been a really good resource for a number of things. So yeah, I think he would help you out any follow-up questions.
good?
Yep.
All right. Planning board requests. This goes back to review and take action on violations in chapter 4611. So I don't know if you guys gave it any thought. I gave it some. I gave it some serious thought given the rain that we had in the month of March, which was double, right? Double the amount of rain we had. You had said, yeah. So we had a lot of issues. One of them's coming up.
Yeah, the problem is, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Go.
According to Mr. Price on Channel 4, the problem is that the ground is saturated at this point because of it's the amount of rain, but also the fact that the soil is saturated. So any rain we get is going right to runoff. It's not going.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, I looked at it. It's like a miscellaneous item. I think there's some validity in certain circumstances, but I think my interpretation of that miscellaneous law was that it's meant to keep some kind of buffer and barrier aesthetically, but my bigger concern is the buffer, is the distance, because 15 feet is, for some properties, I mean, I'd have to have a tree in my living room. So some properties in Poquat just don't have 15 feet. They'd have to leave every tree behind their house, and some properties do. But my perspective is that the bigger concern with the clearing, besides aesthetics, is what it does with drainage, because we have certain situations in the village where there's been an over clearing that has affected how the water holds. So I think there's some validity to this, to having some limitations to what you can clear, but I don't know that it needs to be. I think a 15-foot buffer is not realistic in the village that we live in. I think my thought was, for the sake of, only for the sake of drainage, forget about aesthetics, that, and you're going to have to tell me if this is something that can go into zoning or where it would fit, because we don't have a tree ordinance. We don't, that's another whole complicated thing. But I would, this I think was part of property maintenance, this clearing, the 15 feet back. What if we were to say something, just throwing it out there, clearing of more than X amount of trees would require permission or board review or build an inspection ahead of it. So if I buy a piece of property and I want to clear my whole backyard, now I can't, because me clearing my whole backyard could potentially cause issues, drainage issues for the neighbors on the other side, right?
Mhm.
It'll also affect the aesthetics for the neighbors behind me. So my thought is that we create something, and I don't know, would that be in zoning?
It's really not zoning. I would probably put it somewhere else.
Property
You might-
maintenance?
I would probably put it in, well, I don't, probably put it in property maintenance, but I think it should have like an asterisk in zoning. It should
Okay.
be in property main. We have that with some other things.
Like it,
Yes, so people know that, so it's cross-referenced.
all right, so I mean,
I think you should also mention that changing, it also should be include grading and changing directional flow of water.
well, but grading is part of the building application. So if you change your grade, you have to get a building, you have to take out a permit. So that's already kind of covered. This is clearing trees. This is because somebody cleared 50 trees. They're all on their property, but that could lead to other issues,
But I
right?
thought we went through this last time. I thought we had don't we have a tree diameter regulation in the code? I'll have to go back and find it, but I thought that.
I just think that to say 15 feet is too much. I think 15 feet is, it's in some properties on our side of the village. They'd move in and they'd be like, I can't cut one tree, So I think the number of trees, I think there's some validity to this, but not in the form that it is right now. I think the
Maybe like a
validity has to be
percentage.
something in our village currently. Right now, the bigger concern is drainage than I think anything else, based on what's happened this spring. So I think if we can come up with something, Joe, do other villages do that with a number of trees, or is this like coming out of left field, what I'm suggesting?
Some places you can't take down a tree.
So
But
I did a little, if you don't mind me jumping
Yeah.
in, I did a little bit of like calling around and research, and like in our vicinity, I think we're the only village and municipality that doesn't require a tree permit.
For
And,
any tree?
yeah, you go to like Oldfield, you go to Belterre, like you can't even hire a tree trimming service without applying for a permit first. The town of Brookhaven has tree legislation. You can only remove 2 trees with an 8-inch diameter every 12 months, and it has to be applied for. And it can't be specimen trees. Oldfield doesn't let you touch anything that's mature, anything on the property. They're in their 2 acres. Anything that's less than within their 2 acre setback, it goes to their planning department and it goes to their board of trustees. So we're one of the few places that I found between us, Belterre, Port Jeff, Brookhaven, which includes the Stony Brook area, obviously, Setauket, and then also Oldfield, that doesn't have a tree ordinance and permit requirement. They won't let you touch trees without permitting first.
Well, it might be something that we have to circle back to in a bigger scope. From my personal feeling, as per the planning board's request, that we take action on past
Yeah.
violations.
No,
I
think-
don't feel comfortable doing that.
I think it opens the door to a different conversation. I agree with that. For the specifics of this request.
Plus, how far back do you go?
Yeah, and to your point, you're picking and choosing because there's people who those offsets, don't apply. I mean, you could look at what, zoning offsets are, setbacks requirements are, right? Maybe you could look at that as far as the tree range, because, what are your setbacks for building a structure, a secondary structure on your property? Maybe within that, maybe like you said, percentage.
A percentage or number of trees, but 15 feet is too.
Yeah, some
And-
have,
and
some
I-
have a remove, replant.
I don't really feel comfortable
Policy.
going back 5 years and saying, hey, by the way, 4 years ago you did this and we just figured it out now. Here's your violation.
Those who did it 5.5 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's just. I think that I don't want to. I don't want to take action on it retroactively going forward. I mean, I think my answer for the planning board would be that we're going to revisit what to do with it, but the 15 feet, I'm not.
I mean, if we're like really serious about getting into this and writing the law for it and permitting, we could from here out, right? We could put like a moratorium on tree cutting, right, for a temporary time period if we were going to rewrite a law to address tree removal.
Well,
Is that
it's a-
serious of an
yeah.
issue?
It's kind of a tough one, but
Yeah, it is.
we'd have to have exceptions.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of.
It gets like real
Yeah.
messy.
I think it does. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that the residents are going to love us coming up with this law restricting them from doing this. A lot of people find it too restrictive.
Yeah.
I really think that if we just had a number of trees, because honestly, if you're cutting down 3 trees in your backyard, I don't mind. If you're cutting down 19 trees and you're going to create a runoff issue that's going to affect my yard or my garden, then I care. So I think if there's a number, and I don't know what it is, I don't know if it's 5 or 6 or 4 or 12, but if there's a number of trees that requires it, then there's a little bit more control. It eliminates the reason that the planning board brought this to us. The planning board brought this to us because there was an excess of clearing that they felt affected the aesthetics, right? So I think if you cut it back, it kind of splits the difference and creates a happy medium without having to,
Maybe even like a number tied to a date, like a time period too. So cutting X number of trees in this
Within
time
a
span.
12-month period.
yeah, something like that.
I think also might want to discuss, doesn't feel right now, would be also tying that number to maybe a size because.
Well, that's what Joe just said.
Yeah.
The diameter of the
Because you
tree.
if you go cut down 3 24-inch diameter trees,
Right.
Somebody could say, well, I'm within my number, but then those size trees and excavation could really have some serious effect on somebody's adjacent property.
So do you think that we can find a place to just address this mass clearing and just leave it at that? Yeah. So can I put that on your plate
Yes, please.
to do some research and we'll just revisit this as you get to it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, on to other topics. So we have a drainage emergency on New Street in Maple. Gotten quite a number of resident complaints. The biggest part of the emergency is that there is a drain now, like just to make the record, a drainage emergency, a drain overfilling when there's a monsoon is not a drain failing. Like where everybody's clear on that. It's a different thing because people think the drain is to capacity, that drain's not working. You can't, it's a certain, and I spoke to the Nelson and Pope, I spoke to him about it in detail. There is a whole formula with more math and dimensions. Right, you have X amount of storage,
Whatever, it has storage capacity.
a storage capacity based on this many inches per hour or whatever it is. So we have we're getting a lot of flooding throughout the village because of oversaturation and the ground's not holding it, the drains are not, but it's receding everywhere except New Street. New Street is not receding. There's one drain that is, then I took the engineer over and he looked at it, totally failing. And that drain needs to be replaced. That drain being replaced does not resolve the full issue because you've got Maple coming down on two sides and Chestnut coming up down on another side.
Storage and another pipe it down from some-
Well, the estimate that I got as an emergency, because it kind of is an emergency, one resident can't flush his toilet and two other residents are being impacted because of the runoff going into their yard, under their garage, etc. So, the estimate that I got was for 3 new 10 by 12 dry wells with curb inlet open grates, 1 new 8 by 12 dry well, remove existing one that's failing and replace with a new 10 by 12. The one that's there right now, I believe, is like an 8 by 10 or an 8 by 12. Remove existing dry well curb inlet, saw cut, remove asphalt on road as needed, repave all disturbed area, piping all dry wells together with 12 ADS pipe, and removal and disposal of all excess fill.
If you have that much flow, you might want to go with the pipe.
Yeah,
I don't know, we seem to have problems with flow.
we have a bit of an issue there because when they did the mark out, the whole road is packed with utilities.
Right.
So I don't know if they chose that size pipe because it's the only size pipe they can do.
Might get in there,
I can circle back to them and bring that up as a question, if they should do a bigger pipe. But it's a really tricky road.
because what happens with the pipe as it gets older, stuff goes in it, and it's now not 12 inches anymore. You have sediment built up in it, so and also now the pipe is 8 inches or 10 inches of flow in there. So if you got a 16-inch pipe, you know you'll be down maybe 14 inches, where the 12-inch pipe's going to be down 8 inches.
I could throw that out there.
So-
I could see if that's feasible for that area. That's a good idea. So the number on this is $56,694, which is pretty rough. But we do have CHIPS money. We can apply. What is there a percentage on reimbursement? Do you know, Jess? No. Do they cover us for? It's
Yeah.
covered. I don't know do you know anything about what CHIPS will reimburse? Do they cover?
They're supposed to reimburse 100%, but they usually, negotiate, or it ends up being like 80%.
Okay, so
Ron might know. Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
about 80.
So now the question is, this is like an emergency. What do I do in this scenario? Can I approve this? Can we approve it?
Well, there is a provision in an emergency that you can waive the public bidding requirement, but the public bidding requirement, I just want to point out the bid notice for a public bid is only 5 days, so if it went in the paper like next Thursday, then you could open the bids the following Tuesday and award the, whatever 5 days is, and then award the bids right away.
So I thought it was like a 30-day thing.
No, it's 5 days.
So we would have a special meeting.
So if we could get,
I think we should do that.
because for that amount of money, and
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I thought we were gonna have to wait a whole month and then vote, like put it out and then let it be there. But I think if that's the case, let's put it out to bid. And then we can have a special meeting in the middle of the month if we need to, just to award
we
it,
have a
right?
resolution tonight on the agenda to authorize the village
Yep,
to go out to bid, and the village clerk and the attorney to do a notice for the soliciting bids.
okay.
Why can't you piggyback off the county or the town's contract, or their drainage contract, see what they cost and use them instead of going out to bid?
I can, well, don't I
You
have to
an
go back?
intermunicipal agreement with Brookhaven, don't you? That's all
They
I'm
said
saying.
we could piggyback off of their.
Or the state's contract, I don't know who they use.
Can I do that?
I don't know if they'd be cheaper
Listen
or
to his
whatever.
advice, and then I'll say something.
I don't know if they would be cheaper or whatever, but I know that you have the ability to piggyback off the town and/or the county and/or the state.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, so what you're allowed to do is you're allowed to accept a contract under somebody that's been awarded a contract with another municipality, so it's the town, basically a town, county, or the state. So if there's a list that online, and you can look up and see if anybody's been awarded this type of work with the contract. You can also, I think you might even be able to go to other villages, but I would try to do it with the town or the state.
But don't I still have to get prices?
Yeah,
I mean,
and what I would do is I would do a bid anyway, and because it might be, what Dave said was the key thing that these contracts that other people have, like the town of Brookhaven might have a contract for this. That's not necessarily going to be the lowest price,
right,
but you can use that to judge. So I would long
include
story short,
them.
I would go ahead in the paper. In the meantime, research. It sounds like Dave can help you with that, or I can help you. And research what the prices are that are being charged in Brookhaven and other places.
Okay. All right. So let's do that. We'll put that. That's going to be like it'll be on my radar. And once I have some information, we might have to do a special meeting to get that
The
going.
town has a contract that performs all of it.
Okay.
So it's then 4, 1 replacing 1 and 3 new. Is that it?
Removing one, replacing the one that's failing, and then adding 3 new. And that's going to be something, and we're going to also have to speak to the residents, because at this point, once we do this, there's not going to be any more room in the road. You know, I can't cut people's power or their water off or whatever. You know, like it's all the utilities are underneath it. So we're going to have to talk to the residents. If the resident who's really suffering, who's underwater, can't flush his toilet, I mean, he may need to take his own action to put in a larger cesspool or something to hold, because we're really limited with what we can do on that street, but something has to be done. And it's not the first time that we've had to do it. I mean, Nelson and Pope was suggesting putting more drains up both sides of Maple, but this is a crazy amount right there. And he said that would be a secondary suggestion.
Try to capture the water before it reaches.
Right, but he said that this has to be done, and that would be the secondary route. And I just said I can't even fathom the secondary route right now. I'm going to have to go with this, because if this solves the problem, I'm not going to spend more money where I don't have to, right? Okay,
You
so
can always get a water line and bring it up there so you can flush your toilet.
what's that? What did you say?
I don't know, you can always buy a water line.
Yeah, okay. Well, you knock on his door and tell him that.
I'm gonna leave that for Frank.
Okay. Okay, so there's that. Okay, easy one. Resident request. Paul Edelson has asked for permission to see if he can put together a ivy devining work group. Three Village Community Trust put out a kind of PSA about the bad effects of ivy. I told him, you know, you're not going to be able to go de-ivy private residence trees, but if you want to put together a group that's going to take a look at all the village trees and save us from, you know, them choking out and having to cut them down, I think it's fine, but wanted to run it past everybody. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give him the okay. Tree trimming list, it's that time of year. I'm doing potholes and drainage, so one of you needs to pick up tree trimming. Who wants to go walk the village and look? You guys could do it together.
Split it, find a road and split.
You
go half and
can.
half.
You can split the village if you want,
Yeah,
but
so
we
we'll
need
talk
to
about it and figure
start
out the line
looking.
and just-
If you want to do that, we need to get a list together of what needs to be trimmed of village trees.
Okay.
Okay, so onward.
And
Financial.
for
What?
village responsibility, for trimming, it includes the lines too. What's not the
Well,
upper lines PSCG, right? And that's their responsibility.
I think that if you think it's a PSCG problem, put an asterisk, because when John and I did it last year, that's what we did. We
Okay.
looked at all the trees, all the ones that looked like they needed to be trimmed, and then we kind of asterisks the one that we could contact PSCG, and they actually took down I think out of like, let's say 15 trees, they took down 2, or they topped off 2, but they only top them. So if the tree's dead,
Then you gotta take the slope down.
yeah. So, but yeah, you could look at that and see if you think it could be something that PSCG can be called in on, make a separate,
Okay.
make it put a star next to it. Okay, financials. Yay, that's why we're here for Ron. Okay, so couple of things. Snow reserve investment, which I didn't really, I don't know if you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
We did, right? So we have the snow reserve that we're currently not doing anything with, and there are, investment vehicles that we can put it in that'll give us hopefully a better yield than the bank. So I'm thinking we should explore it. I'm happy to do it and see. Joe had just sent me she sent me some municipal, right? Some municipal account. And Joe, you were going to send me someone else too, class, something like that.
I sent it to you a couple weeks ago. He responded in email
Oh, okay. I'll have
and
to
sent
look.
you information.
Okay, I'll have to look at it. Maybe I missed it. So if everyone's okay, I'm going to look into that. It might be just, if we can make $3. It's $3, right? Okay. As per our auditor, we have to make a couple of policies. This is really going to go back to Joe, but to write. But I figured we could talk about it, so we give him some homework and maybe get it done quicker than not. So these are the 2 policies that we have to write. We have to write a budget transfers and appropriation policy and a bill approval protocols policy. I mean, really, we have to establish a budget transfer policy and a threshold number. Do we have a number now? We said it's 2,000.
Talked about 2,000.
Right. So that was the idea that we had said, because 2,000 is like another, it's like a trigger on a couple of different notes through assets and everything else. So I figured to keep everything 2,000.
Okay.
Budget transfers will be performed twice a year per the recommendation of the bookkeeper and treasurer. So the auditor had said that they wanted to see us. The auditor basically said that they want to see us have a policy and follow it. And because we're a small village, they're not expecting this to be a monthly thing. So we were thinking twice a year, quarterly at max, because there's not a lot that goes on. But weigh in, let me know what your thoughts are on that.
And defer to you here. Do you think twice a year is sufficient?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds reasonable.
Budget transfers will be determined by the treasurer, performed by the bookkeeper. That's just, we need a policy, so that's got to be noted. And budget transfers below threshold amount will not require board approval. So we don't have to, if it's going to be at the end of the year, it's a $200, maybe that can be done without us having to do, does it have to still have resolutions? No. If we don't have to approve it, if it's less than a certain amount?
Well, what you're really doing is changing line. You're changing appropriations.
That's
really.
it.
So, I mean, I think it should be on a resolution, but it's up. If you want to set a minimum amount, that's okay too. If you want to make it 250 or something.
Okay, so let's change that threshold. Budget transfers below 250, but then what's our budget transfer policy and threshold? Oh, 2,000 would be to make the transfer, because we need to make the transfer, and then 250 would be the board approval, right?
No, I would not make that mandatory, because we do end up that kind of get on hand. But certainly at year end, we want to cover it. But during the year, my concern is we don't always want to hit every account at 2,000.
So
There would be quite a few of them.
So do you think we should have a different number over the year? Because at the end of the year, you wind up adjusting everything as a whole.
At the end of the year, we're going to do it. That's
Right.
one of the 2. And then the other one would be at some time during the year. I don't know, if, you know, it depends on what you feel comfortable with. It's just the mathematical thing. We can make it 2,000 and do it. Now that we know the process, I didn't do it at 2,000 this time.
What did you do it at this time?
It was in the approximate area. If it was 2,200, I didn't bother. So, that's. the
So do
issue.
you think maybe do you think like 3,500 would be more in
I think so.
alignment for the village?
Yeah, as long as we have a policy, the auditors are not going to get excited because at the year end, we're going to tune it up anyway.
Yeah, but if we're gonna do it twice a year, we should follow the policy, right?
Yes,
So do you think 3,500 would be the right number?
that's good.
Yeah,
When would you do the mid-year one?
Well,
After snow, after winter, or prior to?
it will probably be after winter because you have to get some experience in the year and the numbers have to get up.
Yeah.
Because, unless you have something serious.
Yeah.
It's not going to get over that until
So
sometime later. in the year.
approximately when we feel our last plowing is.
Yeah.
or maybe sooner. Maybe you could get away with it in
really depends on
January.
what you
Yeah.
see. If you're seeing a lot of,
I think we don't have to say when the 2 years,
as long
just
as we're
twice a
doing
year.
twice in our,
Yeah.
in our plan. Yeah.
And then the budget transfers below X will not require board approval. What's that number gonna be?
well, as far as I know, budget transfers, which by the way, they're using the term budget modifications more. I use transfers, but they're using modification.
Okay, I could
Budget
change that.
modification. And
All right, so is there a number that you like for that? Because you know the village better than I do as far as the finances and what the right numbers for this threshold would be. I
I
think
think the 3,500 is a good one.
even for the board not approving it.
I think the board is supposed to approve modifications.
Okay,
it
so
doesn't,
should we take that item out?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so let's just get rid of that. All right, next one.
But see, he just used the word that he said we're not supposed to use. So it's really, once the budget is adopted in April, then that's the budget. You don't modify the budget during the year. What you do is I'm sorry, please correct me if I'm wrong. So you change appropriations through what Ron said is transfers. So when you, my concern is, and I'm sure Ron does this anyway, but my concern is that if you go a little bit over in one line, and then you take a surplus from another line, what you'd really do is you're encumbering that other line. So you just have to keep track of that during the year. If you're only going to make the actual transfer twice a year, then you have to keep track of how you're encumbering. You have to know when you go over a line, which happens all the time, and it's just what happens. If you go over by $500, you're supposed to know where that other $500 is coming from.
Right. Okay. So let's strike that one out of this
Yeah.
policy. Okay. Bill approval protocols, monthly reports presented to board for approval will include budget. A lot of these, we've already started doing this. This is little things that they found in the audit that they wanted corrected. So some of this we've already implemented per my meeting with them in January, but we're now making the policy. So monthly reports presented to the board for approvals will include budget categories and G&L code as per Natalie's example. We already started that. Board will establish a payment approval threshold for items requiring prior approval prior to the monthly board meetings. So that was that we don't want to, if somebody's got to buy, a stack of paper, we don't want to need to do that. So I think, what was that number that we kind of talked about?
I didn't discuss that.
Well, for me, I think it should be, do you have any suggestions?
To without approval to 250.
250, that's good. I like that. 250, unless you guys think otherwise.
I mean, you're seeing the numbers. I mean, if you think that number is sufficient for what's being approved.
I mean, like,
I don't want to say yes and say
like we had to buy a
250 or-
dehumidifier because we had a flood.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't going to call a board meeting to do that, and
Yeah.
that was probably in that range. We don't usually go.
This is really approval in advance. I mean, it does
Yeah.
get approved.
It does. They all get approved at the end of the
So I would
month.
make it 500.
500. Okay, so let's make that 500. Okay, and then recurring contracted expenses such as landscaping, garbage will be exempt from threshold once initially approved, obviously. Items below threshold amount will not require board approval beyond monthly authorizations currently in place. So you'll see that $4.99, but you just won't see it in the minute that I'm at Ace Hardware buying it, right?
Yes.
Top sheet of board authorization form will note any trustees not in attendance on signature areas. So that's already been done too. So I'm gonna make this, and are we good with that?
So 3,500 for the transfer threshold and 500 for pre-approval.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good? All right. So that's that. Keyspan bond account. Does it, Jess, do you remember what that was?
So Rob might be able to shed more light on it. This is the Keyspan bond account that came into question during the audit. I believe it was from like 10 years ago. They would, they wanted us to take action on it, I guess, and possibly close the account and transfer the money to our reserve fund.
Who actually wanted that?
I think it was the auditors. It came into question early on in the audit.
Now, it
About a
seems to
really
me
old
that the concern that I have is that looking at whatever correspondence we have, that Keyspan has left that for any future projects as a bond account, for any time they have to do a road opening. And so I don't know that it's appropriate for us to wipe it out. Even though we had correspondence saying they don't have a bond, but if they had cash, and that's what
Yeah.
this is, that it's not something that they, even though I don't know, people change at every entity, and I'm sure they've lost track of this, but I don't think we can just forget it.
I think we should leave it where it is.
Yes, I think so.
I think we should leave where it is, and every year at the organizational meeting, renew it.
So that it's,
Once a year, we just recognize it in some kind of resolution and renew it for another year. The problem was we were every time they opened the street, we were chasing them around.
right.
Half the time they didn't do it. They hardly ever didn't do it. So
Okay.
it's to our benefit. What's the amount?
5,900.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're gonna do the public hearing in a moment. One thing, just as far as bonds with street opening, Mike had mentioned to me that we should have a bond for contractors, for any contractors working in the village in the event that they scratch up the street. And somebody had mentioned that at the info session too. Do we, I don't think we currently have that.
Not a bad idea.
Is that something we would put into our building permit?
Yes, if they're gonna have heavy equipment, yes. We should.
So what do we have to create a policy for that?
Yes.
Okay, so can you put that on your to-do list too? Because I think that's pretty valid. There are some contractors who have scratched up the roads, especially like coming down the big hills.
Should be worded that they're using metal tracks on the roads.
Yeah,
If they're using tracks on the road, it should be rubber track.
okay.
Doesn't
So that just popped into my head because we were talking about the road opening, and
Well, they shouldn't get, the other thing is they shouldn't get a C of O. If they cause damage to the village property, they shouldn't get us,
the homeowner.
or the contractor, whoever's doing it.
Okay,
Yes, the homeowner, right.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take care
How
of
does that play if it damages like residential property on top of it?
What do you mean?
So if it runs, so say a vehicle damages our road and goes up a curb and like damages somebody's yard, or
I'm gonna think that if they damage our road, it's our concern with them, and if they damage somebody else's house, it would go under their homeowners now.
Yes.
Yeah.
it doesn't fall under the bond for the village
No.
unless the work was being done for the village. Would that make a difference?
No, I think
No,
it still
still
goes
just stays
under.
under
It
the
still has
homeowner.
to go through their home, because any damage to your property, you contact your homeowners. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to ask people not to drive on people's lawns. But, you know,
That happens.
Is there
Whatever.
any way they could list the village as additionally insured on their permit app on their application, their insurance, is there any way you guys can list the village?
the contractors,
As additional insured,
I think the contractors list,
or maybe that's covered under the bond, I don't know.
no, I think that, but don't the contractors list the homeowner as additionally insured when they do contract work?
Yes.
But they don't, the
don't
village
list the
doesn't have to, the village really doesn't have, I mean, if you're working on somebody's residence, the village doesn't have authority to want to be, they don't own the property. Am I wrong?
Right.
They work in the street. Or if they go on their
Right,
property,
but if they're,
heavy
if they're
equipment,
working on the street, oh, you're saying if they would list the village as additionally
if they have
insured?
heavy equipment, yeah, sure.
No, I think that that's the purpose of the bond, right? The
Yeah,
bond.
I'll discuss it with Mike and make a recommendation.
Okay. Let's do that. All right. And then now we're up to, oh, one other quick thing. Sorry, this is late breaking. I found some garbage cans. We need some garbage cans. This is going to be super quick. Eddie Schmidt, Commissioner of Walnut, suggested these. I priced them out against like 4 other. I will get the bids for all of them, but these were the nicest. I tried to do the picnic table people. They were too expensive, but they're the nicest and they're the least expensive. I don't have the other quotes yet, but I wanted to throw this out there and then I could share I have all the quotes at home. I'm thinking of getting 4. We need more at Walnut. We have some that are just crap that look really bad. They're falling apart, especially after this last windstorm. We got other ones that got destroyed. They were underwater. So I think I want to get 4 of these. So if I get a 45-gallon, she said that she thought that the ones that we have are 35-gallon. I don't know. So 35 gallons, 3,872. And the 45 gallons, 4,412. I don't have the other bids, but they are the cheapest. I can circulate the bids.
So are these designs with removable insert, or do you have to bag these
No, the removable inserts,
similar to what we have now?
similar to what we have now. They pull the
Just a
top off,
difference,
they dump the insert.
So it wouldn't affect the garbage.
No.
Okay.
Garbage guys would, I asked her, she'd pull this off, dump the insert the same as you do ours.
Same as we have now.
Yeah. So now what do I do in this scenario? Because I didn't print out all the estimates. You can't go by my word. I have to present all the estimates, right?
How much money are we talking about?
$4,000.
You need a printed estimate too.
I wanted to order them. Can I?
So do you have, what's the results of your estimates?
The other estimates, one of them was the one at
What's the company that you're talking about?
the Recycle Away
How
was
much is that?
4,000.
44,1205.
And what's the next one?
Poly Products was over 8,000, and Uline was a completely different garbage can, and it was comparable.
Okay, so then I would, just go ahead.
I mean, they were close. The other nicer one that was like this was almost double. Poly Products was 8,000. Uline was like 3,900, but we're going back to the other ones that we have, but they don't make those composite asphalt, so it was like
Right.
fake composite asphalt. They were ugly. And then this one.
So I think you just covered it in the minutes, and then
Okay.
that'll be okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have time to print it. I was kind of rushing to get here. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So which one do we want? Do we want the 45 or the 35?
What are the size ones we have now?
I think go
Bigger?
5, right? Might as well.
I don't know what they do in most parks. Anybody? Anyone? No?
What size are the ones we have now?
I think the ones we have now are 35. They might be 37. 45 is pretty big.
Very big garbage bin. I mean, how often are those things full?
I think we should go 35.
I'm just trying to gauge. I mean, 45. What's the?
45's.
I'm just thinking of, like, what's the, like what the diameter of it, or the?
Yeah, so the diameter is, this is like, it's like, they're like 25 round.
Okay.
And then like 35 high. The next size up is like 30 round and I'm worried about the height more than the
Yeah.
width. I think it might look horsey, especially if the other one. Why don't we do this? Why don't we approve it for the 45, and then I will measure the ones and find out exactly what we have and match the size that we have at the beaches.
So like a not to exceed 45.
Not to
That'll
exceed
cover
that
for
one.
either
Yeah. Is that okay?
We don't want it to be.
I don't want it to be too big
overstructured.
because it's going to look stupid,
Yeah.
right? And especially if we keep some of the old ones, then
Right.
it's going to look like, okay. All right. So that's it. Open items for the board to review from the village attorney. Do you have any?
Yes, so I have, we settled a lawsuit on, March 14th, and, we were told that the check was sent to us that day, and and we never received it. So I did follow up, previously. I let it, about 2 weeks go by, I let the insurance company know that we hadn't gotten the money. They asked me to hold off and not do any, not like cancel the settlement. That they definitely sent it, but I don't think they sent it to, I think their computer garbled, my address, because it's Smithtown bypass,
Mm-hmm.
and I think their computer garbled the bypass part of it, and it's in the
Somewhere,
postal
just
service.
our money somewhere in Smithtown.
Yeah, so they, Smithtown BP,
Okay.
Smithtown BP, wherever that is.
Whatever that is.
But,
It's at the BP in Smithtown. Okay.
so, the check, the good news is
Gas
this-
for everybody.
the check hasn't been cashed. They stopped the check and they reissued another one today, so we'll have it in a day or two.
Okay, that's the irrigation
Yeah,
settlement.
$7,500.
Oh.
And, I have, the other things that are going on is, we had a planning board meeting this week, and there was a lot of discussion, in the planning board about how it relate, how the planning board, what its role is, and then also how it relates to other, departments in the village, basically. So, excuse me, I just want to say the role of the planning board basically comes from two things. One is from, the state law. So it's, under New York State Village Law, and it's section 7-7, 18, 20, 28 in those areas. And basically under state law, they're responsible for, subdivisions, special permits, and, a few other minor things that we don't do here. So,
What are the special permits?
some places have, some areas have, for a certain type of use, you can have a special permit, like you can have, in other words, a gas station won't be, an approved use. A gas station won't be an authorized use. It'll be what's called a special permit use. I'm using gas station's kind of dramatic. It might be like an ice cream stand,
Okay,
something
got
like
it.
that.
All right.
So,
So you're giving them a special permit in lieu of a real one because you want to have more control?
yeah,
Is
and
that
it has a
basically
term.
it?
It has
Okay,
like it
got
might be
it.
for 5 years or so. A good example of that is, daycare.
Got
Right,
it.
like a lot of daycare, like Tutor Time in another village that I'm in, has a special permit. It's renewed with the length of their license from the state, which is 2 years. So
Okay.
that's what you do.
Was the asphalt plant special permit?
Yes, it's a whole other story.
We'll
That's
look
on.
into it.
That's,
Would that fall, just curiosity, would that fall, because they have a renewable permit too, right? So would they have been special permit also? Just for an example.
I don't know,
purposes.
we're in the weeds with the asphalt plant.
Okay.
TBD.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's under the state law, and then there's other jurisdiction that you can give the planning board under our code. So one of those things is the docks. So in Pocock, the planning board has jurisdiction over docks and subdivisions, and then a couple, basically a
The
couple
master
other things.
plan, right?
Yeah, comprehensive plan. I'm sorry, comprehensive.
Oh, sorry, comprehensive. Sorry.
Yeah, master plan. So then the question comes up about, how they relate to other departments. Now, we don't have, an architectural review board, which is probably a good thing. And, the planning board is not the architectural review board. It's not supposed to be. It's more of a land use issue rather than a design
Mm-hmm.
jurisdiction. And, I think there's a feeling, and I wasn't asked to present this, the planning board would like some involvement, I think, not involvement as far as decision, but as far as, information. So that's, probably, that might be something that, that's discussed with the chairperson or something if you'd like to do it or not.
So does he need to discuss it with the board? Is that the idea?
I
To
think
have
he
the
needs to discuss it
chairperson?
with the board, yeah.
Okay.
So, and the board wasn't, there was no really consensus. The things that I'm saying, like that thing, there wasn't any consensus in the planning board. It was just like one or two people felt strongly about it, one or two people didn't care.
That they want to be more involved in the board's decisions, the building decisions, what specifically?
Receive information about what decisions are being made and possibly voice sound, sound sound off on different things. Provide.
I think they would need to give us, I mean, I think if they had a specific thing that they wanted to weigh in on with our board or another,
That's what I was looking for.
they want to weigh in, but then they should present us what they want to weigh in on, because, I mean, I'm not down with an architectural review board. I don't know that anybody in this village would be happy
No,
with that.
I would
That's
just-
very, I think that an architectural review board, given how this village is so different, would be really restrictive to a lot of, especially new homeowners who come in and have to, what's the standard?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have, for our building department, I think we have existing code that restricts, right, height
Yeah.
of buildings,
But is that what
zoning
this
and
is?
building
It's-
that, but, sorry, Jim.
I think so. What one of the people that was speaking kept saying was that the planning board's supposed to be involved under secra on everything. That's basically not correct. So to give you an example, like so what was discussed is every time we get one of these every time we get a page one or whatever we call it, it should make a circle through the planning board because they're in charge of secra. Well, they're not really in charge of secra.
Well, that was actually something that came up with we discussed that at one point because it's on the building permit. When we revised the building permit,
Yeah.
it's on there, and I didn't know that was on there until it was pointed out to me. But I believe that that's something that we're supposed to be doing if it's on the building permit. So is that
Secra? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're supposed to be
So,
doing.
secra.
There's got to be a secret process according to the building permit.
Yeah, so secret is not involved with permits that the building inspector is making decisions on their own, right? There's a type of decision called a ministerial decision,
Okay.
where basically it's one person making a decision, and they look at the application and they say, yeah, the application looks okay, or the plans are fine. If there's only one person doing that, then that doesn't need secret. That's what's called ministerial, and it doesn't need secret. If there's more than one person involved, 2 people, 3 people, then that's what's under New York State law. That's what's called an agency or a board.
Okay.
Or board. Then you need secret. So because they have to vote somehow.
When we do the secret for the laws.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if somebody here gets an application and they look at it and they say, yeah, this looks good, and they just stamp it, approved, one person, that doesn't need secret. But if it's as long as you get, once you get to 2 people that vote between the 2 of them, then you need secret.
Okay, got it.
Okay, but I think that listening to the planning board and knowing how the code works here, I think what like say if somebody builds a house that involves a lot of work on the property,
Right.
or a major job, some kind of major job, I think that they should not be involved in, oh wow, that's a big house, or maybe they should turn it this way. That's not a planning board decision, obviously. That's the building inspector's decision. But I think if there's like a major changes in the land,
Yeah. Okay, I understand. It's like the clearing kind of an
that should
issue.
probably make a pass through.
At
At least
mean,
on an informational basis, let them know that that's happening. So,
okay, so how do we grant them that? Do we write up, do you create a policy
yeah,
where?
we could have a policy or one line under the planning board.
Okay.
You know, I could put.
I mean, I'm
something-
okay with it. It's a little vague, so I think I would want to know specifics a little bit more of you'd have to, I mean, how does it work? Because you represent them and you represent the village and all of us. Do you create the connection between the two?
Yes.
So then why not maybe create it and then we'll look at it, right? Because ultimately the decision's ours.
Yes.
The planning board, they're requesting, because from what I understand, they request what they can be involved in, and we concede to yes, no, like they're asking us to look at this law, and we are gonna we make the decision whether we want to change it or not, correct?
Yes.
So I think if we have an idea of what that plan is, we can look at it and decide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
So, and then, so there is, you know, there is a dock application that's pending. It's not, there were a number of documents that were attached to as exhibits that had to be changed, they were changed and submitted. It's been submitted to the, as I understand it, the DEC and the Army Corps, maybe also the Department of State, I'm not sure about that.
Yes, that's the one that I wrote the letter giving them permission. That was last month where I gave them permission to, that we gave them the permission to apply to the DEC because it involves village land. We didn't give them permission to build the dock. We gave them permission to make the application. That was last month. Yeah, okay.
So we hired, you know, the planning board has had, we did have a meet, the chairman and I had a phone meeting with GEI, the consultant that we selected, that the village hired, and you know, I thought it went really well. The person that is working on this, I think, is very knowledgeable, and he has an open mind about the application, and you know, no preconceptions or anything. And he is, I think he's going to write a brief memo, you know, like very brief introductory memo for the planning board. I think, you know, that basically.
So now, the village, this board approved his being involved. Do we have to see these memos, or does that just go straight to the planning board?
Well, we go straight to the planning board, and then it's up, you know, I mean, it's available, so sure.
Okay, and I just trying to understand the process. Okay,
I mean, it's not, it shouldn't be confidential. So,
okay. Is there anything else?
And there's a little bit of a discussion at the planning board about who's going to do secret on the dock application, but we're working on that.
Okay.
And I don't have anything else, unless you have questions for me about it.
Anything?
No, I'm just curious to interested to see what the request from the board's gonna make, and if they're looking for, are they looking for like authoritative position, or are they looking for an advisory in these decisions?
I think advisory.
Okay. So even though, for, you know, like I think what's somewhat common usually in like larger municipalities would be anything that has a site plan, right? That building, that planning would get involved in, and they would review.
Such as like an extension or a new build, something like that?
Or you
Doesn't everything have a site plan?
It depends. You could cap it on square footage. It could be half, you know, like you don't need a site plan if you're, you know, redoing a bathroom, right? Like you need a floor plan, but you don't need a site plan.
Oh, site plan's the whole property?
Yeah, site plan
Got it.
property. So that might be something that, you know, you could give review to a building department. So any right, or planning department, like any building applications, which would typically include a total knockdown, a new build,
Okay,
or a certain, you know, rebuild over 50% of the property or something
Oh, I
like that.
gotcha.
They
Yeah,
could
that's
look to
interesting.
see how it would tie back into the, you know, to the plan for the, but again, then, you know, what I guess we'd have to work out just kind of some of the fine details, like would they want to just advise on that back to the building department? Would they want to advise, like, how does that kind of hierarchy work as far as their review of that? But I don't see a problem in them wanting to be involved from that perspective, because it's
neither
also
do I.
not a judgment on aesthetics. It's more of a, you know, how it kind of works together with the building
yeah, I think it makes
department
sense.
and the board
Yeah.
of trustees. So
So just, you know, I guess have Rob put together some kind of proposal so we can look at it and, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The only other thing to update you on is that I think what they want, I think they agreed to sort of reverse their meeting policy where in the past, like for many years, they didn't meet. Because they just thought,
Yeah, they didn't meet for the
Wasn't-
whole first year that I was mayor.
yeah, it wasn't a need, so they didn't meet. So, but I think what they're gonna do is, flip that and there'll be a meeting scheduled every month and then, like, if they realize the night before that or the week before or something, that there is no need to, meet,
Oh.
then
That's good.
but there will be a meeting scheduled.
That's
you know,
good.
so.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we operate somewhat independently from them, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Would there be like any benefit to meeting once a year,
with the planning board?
planning and zoning commissioners from like having a meeting once a year?
You could, what I would do is I would ask for a report once.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
I think that's a great idea. For a report from all the different, from ZBA, from planning,
Yeah.
from building, from everybody.
And ideally do it probably before we review and decide budgets for the following fiscal year, so we can see if they have any requests for,
Yeah,
for
I think that's a
designs
great
or
idea.
like a once a year.
Like once a year in the spring. Like I just initiated the thing with the commissioners because we never had reports from commissioners.
Yeah.
And then I never knew what to budget for what. So I think that's a great idea. That's now, do we need another policy?
We'll put it on for a vote at the next meeting.
Okay.
To request.
To request. Do we have to do that? Because I mean, in all honesty, I just asked the commissioners to give me a report because I thought was that supposed to be?
You don't have to do it.
So let's just,
I think
maybe we should have like a little bit of a protocol
Yeah.
for that. And it's good for people who come in as new board members, new commissioners, so that they know. Because I really want the commissioners to give me 2 reports. One, like at one point, I think I did it in January, and then another one at the end of August.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, how do we know? We don't find out until something breaks and they tell us, oh, we need this. And then we already utilize that budget for X, Y, and Z. So I think it would be good to do that with all the departments. Yeah, that's a great idea, Jared.
so you could use the annual organizational meeting and put on one of the resolutions to accept the annual report of the planning board, accept the annual report of the.
Oh, but we don't have one yet, but we're going to ask them for one? Yeah, okay, let's do that. We'll, do you have to do that? Can I draft it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks.
That's what's gonna happen anyway.
All right, very good. All right, I think that's it.
Question?
Yes, sir.
On the financials, the last one, E, what was the line there?
Public hearing.
Oh, yes.
That's coming next, because we're going to do the public hearing. We don't want to even talk to you about the budget, because we'll do it in the, we all saw it already, so that's for the public. So Chris has a lot of questions on the budget, and he'll ask them. Our friend from Port Jeff, he'll ask a lot of questions. And then, all right, so shall we wrap this one up? All right, what time is it? Calling the motion to adjourn the work session at 7:27. So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, does anyone need a break? Plow on?
Offer.
Okay. Motion to call the business meeting to order at 7:27. So moved. Second. All in favor? All right, do the pledge. Okay, who's gonna start it? I never do. Joe's gonna do it. Joe, you start it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, where's mine? Oh, I need this other one. All right, now I'm using everything. Okay. Announcements. The 2024 village election will take place on Tuesday, June 18th. There will be 2 two-year trustee positions, 1 one-year trustee position, and 1 two-year mayor position. Nominating petitions are available at Village Hall and due by 5 p.m. on May 14th. The village is requesting that anyone interested in being an election inspector that day contact Village Hall. The Poquat Community Association will be sponsoring its second annual Polar Plunge and Color Splash fundraiser for new entry signs at Walnut Beach on April 14th at 1 p.m. The Poquat Community Association's community cleanup will take place on May 5th, with residents meeting at California Beach at 9:30 a.m. for coffee and bagels. The village is requesting a volunteer for the position of flag commissioner. Responsibilities will include following federal and state flying protocols, as well as removal of flags ahead of weather events, high winds. Anyone interested in the maintenance of our flags can contact Village Hall. Reports?
Is there an age restriction on
No, you can have Theo do it, but you got to stick to it.
that? Who's really interested?
If he really is, then you're going to have to do it.
I'll have to talk to him.
Yeah, see if he's
We'll
really.
discuss this over goldfish.
Okay. Reports, public safety.
On March 15th, August 11th, we had one house check request, direct patrols, we had 10, incident reports, we had 1, parking warnings were 4, quality of life warnings were 8, special event permits requested were 5, parking tickets issued 0, field repairs tickets were 0.
Don't you want to make part of your report the fabulous new striping outside? There is fabulous new striping on the vehicle. It looks amazing. Look at that.
I don't think it looks, I didn't say it looked bad.
It looks
I
amazing.
went store behind that, so.
It looks great. Okay, so treasurer's report, Ron.
Yes.
We got you in person this time.
Okay. The village is going to be voting on budget transfers. I'll use the term instead of not. Quite a lot of suggestions, but anyway. And that will be covering a number of accounts that were over budget. And the transfers are being made between income accounts that were over budget. And that's being used, and that leverage is being used to fund certain expense accounts that have been over budget. We didn't fund every single penny, but we didn't touch, after some discussion with the mayor. We didn't touch anything with regard to the snow budget, which is, we've still got over $20,000, which is, it's under budget. And I think the mayor has some proposals.
It's over budget, snow.
It's under budget, the expense is under budget.
We spent way under.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't scare me.
over,
Don't
like-
scare me like that. Okay.
And so, there's some, we cleared it with the auditors. There was some concern that I had as to whether it could be free for use in other expenditure line items, and they believe it can be, so.
I saw that email. I didn't go through it. I wanted to pick your brain about it next week, the one that Chris sent, the details on that.
So it's free money for use. Doesn't have to go into the reserve.
I always like it in the snow budget. I always like it where it is in case it snows more.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that, but we have the fully funded reserve.
Right.
My initial approach was to add the overage, the
Right.
unused amount to that fully funded reserve.
I don't know. What do you
That
guys
is
think?
assigned, that is specific though,
Right.
designated for that use. Once it gets into that reserve, then, requires a different vote and probably approval.
I mean, I kind of like having the extra money for snow instead keeping it in snow, at least until it becomes. I would wait.
Like a pattern,
Person-
you mean? Like
what?
multiple years of not having to dip into it before moving it out of there?
Yeah, like if I don't, yeah,
Like if we
just
have a
like if we have
2,
another
3
thing and then
3-year
next
stretch
year
of-
right now I would like to just invest it because we don't need it until December, but I kind of like it being its own little item, its own little reserve in the event that we do have a snow, or in the event that we had another, let's say another weather related event that was kind of like a like weather event, a hurricane or something where we said, all right, now we're going to pull it from here rather than just losing it in the reserve. And like, I feel like it's weather related and you never know what's going to happen with the weather. So I like it where it is for now. And then if it obviously grew to be something excessive, then I would utilize it for something else. But it's not that much. That's what is that? That's 1.5 big storms that what we have in reserve, right?
This
It's
is, you know,
not.
just a matter of judgment. You know, I'll look at it at both sides. One is that a lot of people don't want to be over-reserved. You know, they feel that the village, as with the schools, had the problem of being over-reserved for some time, and we're criticized for that because people feel that, you know, you shouldn't have to raise my rates as much. There's also the, you know, other opinion that if you had other things that need to be done, drainage issues, things
Yeah.
like that, you've got $20,000 there.
Right.
So, you know, that's. if you
Well,
couldn't get it
my
funded by
tennis
CHIPS,
court, I didn't bring up my tennis court
there could be all
quotes.
kinds of
They're
things.
crazy.
And
So,
some of them
yeah,
are more
so,
related
like-
to, you know, weather issues, and some of them are not, but.
this village doesn't very often have an overabundance of extra money. We're like, I wish we did, but I think for now, it's not that much. It's literally what is that? One storm, right? It's 1.5, it's 2 little
A normal
snowstorms.
storm, a bad month, a bad storm is about 20,000.
Yeah, so it's one storm. If we have one extra storm, I think it
Yes,
should stay where it
that would
is.
mean that we've got 2 in the reserve right now.
Okay,
We've got 2 that we're funding every year,
right.
and then we have 2 in the reserve.
So let's hold on to it. I think let's hold on to it until let's get through into halfway through next winter and see where we're at, you know?
So, I mean, what would be the negative of putting it into our reserve, into our general reserve?
As unassigned.
As unassigned, what would be the
unrestricted.
negative to it?
That's a possible.
My feeling is because I just feel that it's this isn't relevant from what Ron discovered through the auditors, but it's its own line item
within
within
the
our
unassigned?
tax bill. No, within our tax bill, it's
Okay.
its own line item. So and it might just be in my mind. In
Yeah.
my mind, it is a different item, and I think the residents look at it as a different item. They, you know, garbage goes up, snow goes up. That's different than what you're paying. And then if you put it in, then it's no longer, I don't know. I feel like we're commingling when we don't have to. We have money in the reserve right
Yeah.
now. I'd rather invest it as its own thing. And then what if we grow it a little bit and then we utilize it for snow? I mean, it as the snow rates go up, you know, we
You
may.
might need some more
Yeah,
anyway.
I think we should just, you know, I think it helps us with our budget just to leave it where it is. And right now we don't need to move it. So there's nothing wrong with leaving it. Yeah. So I think for right now, let's look at an investment vehicle for it until December and then see where we are after the first big snowstorm next year. I mean, obviously next year, if it's still there, we'd probably think about doing it even sooner.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We got hurricane season in front of us. That's why I don't know.
As long as it's not a time deposit that takes us past the winter.
Yeah, no, I think that whatever we're looking at has a lot of flexibility.
Keeping up the snow sand we put on.
Yes.
Oh, and that's
Could be.
another possibility. There you go. Full of ideas.
I love it.
Dave, you got it all going on today. I love it. All
Got an
right.
extra seat up here.
Yeah. All right. So any other items from the treasurer's report besides obviously the budget public hearing?
No, I think I also put in my executive summary that, you know, we're looking at some kind of still budget excess year end, even with these budget transfers.
Right.
And the amount is not going to be such that it's going to impact or even come close to being to bring our reserves, the unrestricted reserve, anywhere near the fund balance policy.
The danger zone.
Yeah, it's not even near. The fund balance policy at 5 to 10%, there's something in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $30,000, $35,000 should be unrestricted. We are at 144 now, and we haven't touched that. And we will be touching that at year end, but not, I don't believe, much more than 50,000, based
Okay,
on prior experience.
okay, all right. Court report, we're gonna skip because Jacqueline's not here. Okay, so I'll never get this right. Motion to,
Motion to open the annual budget hearing.
but I don't have to close this meeting? Kind of? I don't know.
Okay, you could do that.
Well, what, just tell me how to do it. I have to like
So
memorize
the
it at
first
some
motion
point.
is no, it's okay. The first motion is a motion to adjourn the monthly business meeting to conduct the annual public hearing, annual public budget hearing.
Okay. So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion to open the public hearing. So moved for the village budget hearing for fiscal year 2024, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So I looked at it. I was involved. Jeremy looked at it and he was involved. Ray, do you have any comments before we open it up to the public?
Thanks for that last email.
Yeah,
With
that
the
was so
clarifications.
helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad it filled in what you wanted.
Yeah,
It did. It makes it, and the just adding those. We're doing some other policies that we're just gonna add the items because it helps me, like the line items to what the verbiage is huge because it gives me an understanding. I don't have an accounting degree. Okay, so do we have any public comments on the budget, the fiscal year 2024, 2025 budget? You don't have a lot of comments, Chris?
Looks good.
Okay, all right. So, motion, any comments? No
I have a
callers?
question.
Yes.
Are we making any progress on the sale of the equipment?
The car,
The car, yeah.
we're actually looking to use it as part of the trade-in for the next one. So it's in the works, but not, not, no input now. I can't wait to get rid of that car, but we're waiting for quotes on what a new one would be, and then maybe we can trade it in and not sell it. We're
So it'll be a reduction in the bond, but
Well,
not income.
we have not. Yes, Dave.
Also, when you go to get another car, you can also go up to state BOCES bid besides going up to state bid. Like BOCES has their own bid, so they have a little bit.
For leases,
On the town buys their cars.
we're trying to really do a lease this time because I feel like we should try it once to try a lease and see how it works out because the amount of money we spent on repairing that car was insane. And we did the same thing with the Liberty too. We spent a lot of money on that one. It seems like once they get to a certain point, we just keep dumping money into it. So I know it's going to be like the first time we do the lease, it's the most painful because we have to throw everything, but then we could just roll it and keep going with that. Yeah, that's from Frank. That's straight. Frank was the one who suggested it, and I think it's a good idea. Yeah. So I'll keep you posted, but right now, nothing.
What was the company about a reduction in income?
So it's going to be, we have a line item for sale of equipment income. So it won't be there because it's going to be a reduction of lease payments. That stretches it out.
Okay, you'll have to translate that to me offline sometime. I think we're good, right? Okay. All right. So, can I close the public hearing? Did I do it already?
Yeah.
Okay. So, motion to close the public hearing for the village budget hearing for fiscal year 2024. Well, actually, let me throw this out. If there's any callers on the line that have public comments, now's your time. Okay. Doesn't seem to be. So now Motion to close the public hearing for village budget hearing for fiscal year 2024 to 2025. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, now we're going to move on to motion to reopen the Board of Trustees business meeting at 7:43. So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Did I do that one right, Joe?
Yes, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, public comments. Anyone have any public comments that they would like to share? Yes, sir. What do you got?
Good evening, Mayor,
Welcome back.
Trustee Graham, Trustee with the coolest name, Trustee Flint. I did talk about that last time, very cool. I just wanted to, one, apologize that I was not at the March meeting. I felt very bad, but for some reason, I just cannot seem to get that website working on my phone. So I had to get a list of all the dates from the amazing clerk, and now I'm ready to be an honorary Popewout resident. I wanted to just update you guys to say that unfortunately I invited Jacob here tonight. We're gonna meet up at a different time because he couldn't make it. He had a prior arrangement, and I was gonna distribute these to you or to them. I don't know how to.
You can distribute them to us.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure you can.
So we created. I didn't know if I was overstepping my bounds.
No, it's fine.
Oh, wow, this table goes back for a while.
You do have to kiss the ring prior to
Yeah.
signing
I
it,
don't have
but,
the ring on, so you don't have to do
You're
anything.
okay tonight.
Oh, wow, this came out really nice.
This is our these are our flyers for the youth council, and I wanted to update you on what we've done so far. So we recently hosted the in coordination with our school, because they were hospitable to us. We were going to host them at our free library, but ultimately they said we could host them at their school. We hosted the Lieutenant Governor of New York, Antonio Delgado, to come down and answer some of our questions, listen to some of our history from the past few months, our very extensive history, clearly. And it was a really enlightening conversation to hear from him, hear about his insights, and hear some about his personal life. I did not know that a lieutenant governor, before he became lieutenant governor, pursued a socially conscious rapping career in Los Angeles under the stage name A.D. The Voice. You can find some of his music on Spotify.
Mhm.
Very interesting to learn about that. We're working with Fort Jeff Village and the school to host 2 different multicultural festivals. This is being spearheaded by one of our students who is biracial in our school, who wants to highlight the diversity of Fort Jeff, as we have we have a Jewish community center that's involved, an Asian American community center that wants to be involved. So we're looking to have that with the village and then one with the school to highlight the diversity in our school. I also just wanted to thank you guys for being who you are. I sometimes come to these and I sometimes just think, the first time I came here and then I went to another Fort Jeff meeting, I just said, man, I wish it was not like a civil war in Port Jefferson sometimes. I come here and I hear you guys like talking about resident needs, what residents need, resident wants, I mean to say needs twice. Looking at all of this information, really bouncing back all of this data that you guys have, and ultimately deciding what needs to be done. And I'm like, I just wish we had that level of communication where we are right now.
You have a much bigger village.
Yeah, we're about 7 or 8 times population wise.
Yeah.
But packed into that 3.2 square miles is a lot of division and fighting. And sometimes it's good to come here and hear from you guys. So I just wanted to highlight some of the work that we were doing. And we really do appreciate a lot of the hospitality that some of you guys, so like Jacob, similar to that, he's been really great. We've connected over text a lot. We're going to meet up at some point to talk about this with Ward Melville. We're talking about this with Sachem, Jericho. There are other students who want versions of the youth council
That's
there.
great.
So I'm really excited for what our future holds, and some of the things that we've already been doing has really progressed us and elevated our status in the village. So I'm super excited, and I hope to continue to make my way to these POPOT meetings to keep you all updated.
Well,
and
thank you
informed
very
on
much.
Everything going on.
That's
Yes, sir.
awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank
Happy
you
to
so
have
much.
you, and look forward to returning the favor and attending one of yours soon.
Thank you.
Very good. That's awesome. Thank you for that update. Okay, any other public comments?
I just want to mention something, ward members, I know it's kind of out.
You joined the youth group?
He's in the youth council. He's
I tried to join, they
They said no.
yeah, I said sorry.
They're not quite ready for
I
a
missed it by-
consigliere yet.
I
Yeah.
won't say how many years I missed it by, but I missed it by a lot. Anyway, Ward Melville, many of the high schools now have what are called mock trial teams. And they actually have trials against each other, and you work your way up to state finals. And the Ward Melville mock trial team won the Suffolk County Championship.
They
last year.
did?
And I'm not only mentioning that because I think a couple of people from Folkwat either are involved or have been involved.
You didn't play judge?
No, I'm one of the coaches.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
you
awesome.
Yeah, but there are people from Folkwat that are involved. In
Oh,
the team
nice.
with me,
That's
so,
cool. That's
yeah,
pretty
wow.
impressive.
Well,
Yeah.
on that topic, we were talking last night, and what do you think about adding to our monthly flyer, like the spotlight kids in Pokemon?
What monthly flyer are you speaking of?
A monthly, our village,
Our
newsletter.
newsletter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
maybe.
flyer. Yeah,
What-
sorry.
yeah,
I just reduced your newsletter
No,
to
but
a flyer.
that's
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
concern that you reduced my newsletter to a flyer. It's that you made it monthly.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you write an article and we'll try it in the next one?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
This would be like a nice introduction to try and, I know
Sure.
some of the kids have been doing, some hours, some of their, community service hours in the village
Yeah.
doing cleanups and stuff. So maybe if we, get parents who want to send
I think that's a
something
great
in and,
idea.
like, spotlight their child for
I'm gonna leave you a whole
newsletter.
page.
That's fine.
I don't have to write. That's one less article for me to write. You just took it upon, and now it's going to be monthly, and you're writing it every month. All right, very good. Yeah, I like it. I like that
Stuck
idea.
my
I think
foot
it's
in my
great.
mouth there.
All righty. Okay, no more public comments. Let's move on to resolutions. Some of these are going to be on the fly. All right. So, resolution 04/2024-01, resolution adopting April 11th, 2024 agenda as printed. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Resolution 042024-2, resolution accepting the monthly reports from April 11th, 2024. So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Resolution number 04/2024-03, resolution adopting the minutes from the March 14th, 2024 work session of Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 04/2024-04, resolution adopting the minutes from the March 14th, 2024 business session of the Board of Trustees. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
You just took 4, right?
I did 4.
Okay.
There's like multiple. Look what a mess this thing is this
That's
month. But
Resolution 042024-05, resolution to schedule the Village of Oaklaw Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning at 6 p.m. on May 9th, 2024, with a business meeting to follow immediately. So moved. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 04/2024-06, resolution to approve 2024 electronic equipment policy to replace any previous electronic equipment policy. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 04/2024-07, resolution to approve 2024 information technology policy to replace any previous electronic equipment policies. Previous electronic equipment policy. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Duplication.
Is that a duplication? No, one's
No,
electronic
one's-
equipment. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Info technology to replace any previous information technology policy. So moved. All in favor? All right, let me do this one for a sec. Let's do where's that garbage can thing? Do you have it? I put it away.
It's a good bag.
That's a bag.
Yeah, you got it. We'll fold it.
Did I? No. What did I do with it? Oh, no. Here it is. Got it. Okay. So, resolution to approve estimate from Recycle Away for new trash receptacles for common areas in the amount not to exceed $4,412, $4,425.
It's a stickler, but you have to read the resolution number first.
Oh, resolution 04/2024-08, resolution to approve the estimate from Recycle Away for new trash receptacles for common areas in the amount not to exceed $4,425. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right, Jane, answer me the numbers.
I didn't know if you were gonna have to like redo it again if you didn't, so just sorry.
Gotta do it to get numbered.
Yeah, I fixed theirs.
Yeah,
So they-
they're
I
all,
went through
you don't
my
understand, you don't even look at the numbers, your head will explode if you see
Now
it.
you know why
So
Jane
are
asked
we
for
going
that
to use?
clarification.
Okay.
We're not broken.
So resolution 04/2024-09, resolution to approve estimate from Elon City for digital speed signs not to exceed $3,800. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Resolution number 04-2024-10, resolution to approve estimate from Econo Sign for road narrow signage for Bayview Court in the amount of $127.45. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 04/2024-11, resolution directing Clerk Batani to schedule a call ahead for the 2024 season. So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Your turn, Jeremy.
I was just wondering what call it was. Resolution 04/2024-12, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2024 through 2025 budget as proposed by Village Treasurer Ron Polito. So moved.
All in favor?
Resolution number 04-2024-13, resolution approving the renewal of bookkeeping contract with Small Business Management Solutions for a term of 1 year in the amount of $540 monthly. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 04/2024-14, resolution setting the village election for Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 for the positions of 3 trustees and 1 mayor, with the voting to be at Village Hall from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Resolution 04/2024-15, resolution to authorize village clerk to advise for bids for the 2014 Ford Explorer Interceptor. So moved.
All in favor?
Resolution number 04-2024-16, resolution directing Clerk Batani to schedule early bird for sprinklers for the 2024 season. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Are we, I'm on early bird or?
The one after.
Okay, resolution number 04/2024-17, resolution directing Clerk Batani to schedule Murphy's Marine Service, Inc. to open the dock for the 2024 season. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Resolution 04/2024-18, resolution directing clerk to schedule and notice accordingly public bids for tree trimming. So moved.
All in favor?
Resolution.
Oh, sorry.
Resolution number 04-2024-19, resolution approving speed hump locations as engineered by Nelson Pope Engineering.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we gotta do this one, Ron. Now what did I do with it? I got it. This is it. Yeah, got it. Okay. Resolution 04-2024-20. Resolution 2, increase the budget by $5,000 in GL code A2555 building permits. Increase the budget by $6,000 in GL code A2610 court fines. Increase the budget by $2,000 in GL code A3005 mortgage tax. Decrease the budget by $12,000 in GL code 80914 appropriated fund balance unassigned. Increase the budget by $12,000 in GL code A1410-1 clerk and deputy wages. Increase the budget by $2,000 in GL code A1490.4 handyman. Increase the budget by $6,000 in GL code A3120.4 supplies and services public safety. Increase the budget by $2,000 in GL A5182.4 supplies and services street lighting. Increase the budget by $3,000 in GL 8510.4 ground maintenance village. Okay, and that's it for this, right? The other part, Ron, I'm done?
Yes.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then, don't forget you have to add the resolution to the.
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
bids and-
So that's gonna be 21, because we're not doing that, so we're gonna do Resolution 4-2024-21, resolution directing Clerk Batani to schedule and notice accordingly public bids for emergency drain work on New Street and Maple, right? So we're gonna swap those two out, correct? Okay. And then,
I'll do the,
yeah, you will?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So, we've got Acts Creative, the amount of $90. Brookhaven Locksmith, in the amount of $388.40. Construction Technologies, in the amount of $195.15. We have Optimum, in the amount of $135.07. PSEG, in the amount of $490.29. PSEG again, in the amount of $14.14. Small Business Management Solutions, for a total of $543.20, and Winter Brothers of Long Island for $10,788, for a total of $12,104.25. Next is the Home Depot credit card for a total of $207.96. We also have Cow's Cleaning Service for $320. Parkline Asphalt in the amount of $6,775. We have Joseph Prokop in the amount of $1,575. Times Beacon Record in the amount of $128.82. And Town of Brookhaven Highway Department for $2,320.95 for a total of $11,119.77. Next, we have Canon Financial Services for $129, NICOM for $25, PSEG for in the amount of $403.06, PSEG again in the amount of $38.35, Suffolk County Water Authority $54.16, Suffolk County Water Authority for $52.07, Suffolk County Water Authority for $52.07 again, and Verizon Wireless for $100.86 for a total of $854.57. Next, we have the credit card, and the bill was $132.30. And that's it.
Nice. Okay, so why don't you do the last one, Jeremy?
Well, before I do that, I'm fair enough for you to second this one.
I didn't second it. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
Oh
I'm
my
just,
God.
you know, I'm just
Second? So moved.
so moved.
All in favor?
Alright,
All right, good.
resolution 042024-22, resolution approving all checks per the voucher report. So moved.
All in favor.
I
All righty, so motion to adjourn the Jeremy audited business session at 8:03 PM.
second that.
All in favor? All right. Thank you.
Then on to the